Education Fund, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
I'm here with my Lambda Legal colleagues, David Buckle and Alfonso David, and our gifted and committed co-counsel from Kramer Levin, Jeff Trackman and Norm Simon. And I'm here with 5 couples and their children, heroes in New York, along with the other couples in the other cases who've stood up for what is right and what this state has to do, and that is allow our gay and lesbian families the same dignity, the same access to marriage that all else get in this state. Now, I made our arguments to the New York Court of Appeals on May 31st, and they did not listen. But you know who is going to listen? The New York State Legislature, the people of New York. They have children. I don't know what the court was thinking when it didn't acknowledge and respect those children and those families and the need for the same protections, the same right to make healthcare decisions at someone's sickbed, the same ability to inherit, the same rights to protect your children. When you say goodbye in the morning, to know that you will be able to protect your loved one as well as you can. Rights that come only with access to marriage. Today was a big blow, but it only has energized us and moved us to a new forum, a new court, the Court of Public Opinion. We're going to take our case to Albany. We have Empire State Pride agenda to help lead us there. The more that we speak up and speak out, show New York who you are, why this matters, why we care, the closer we are to the day when everybody out there can marry just like anyone else in this state. You know, the Court of Appeals decision wasn't all bad. All the opinions pointed out one thing that's really clear, and that is it's now time for the legislature to do something about it. The leader of this country and around the nation. Right. But look at all the borders. Look at all the borders of New York except for Pennsylvania. Look at Canada. Look at Quebec and Ontario, Massachusetts. Same-sex couples marry in those states. Even look at Vermont and Connecticut and New Jersey that have extensive domestic partnership rights or civil union rights. New York offers nothing to compare. It's time we caught up and took the lead in New York, and we're going to do that. I want to say one thing, that the Chief Judge Kay wrote a beautiful dissent. She had wise words to say that should give us comfort and help lead us forward. She said, "I am confident that future generations will look back on today's decision as an unfortunate misstep." Well, New York, our next step is clear. We are going to go to Albany, go to the legislature, continue to tell our stories all around the state, convince New York that the only justice, the only fairness in New York, what's good for this state, what's good for gay and lesbian families, and what's good for everyone is equality and freedom, the right to marry the person you love.
Hi everybody. My name is James Essex, and I'm here from the LGBT portion of the ACLU. We had in one of the cases, one of the 4 cases that was up there, it was decided today against us all. And I know that all of you here have heard the bottom line about how the court decision came out. And obviously it's not a good thing. But probably not many of you have had either the time or quite frankly the stomach to go through and see exactly what it is that they said in the decision. And I want to share two of the arguments that were used against us with all of you, just so you can understand what we're up against and what the other side and for the judges on the Court of Appeals accepted as reasons to exclude us from marriage. They basically said there are two reasons that the legislature could rationally decide. They basically said there are two reasons that the legislature could rationally decide to keep us out of marriage. They said first, well, you know, everybody knows the kids do better with a mom and a dad. And the funny thing about that is,
we're better parents!
The funny thing about that is this. You know, a week ago, the Arkansas Supreme Court confronted a similar issue. The question there was whether it made any sense, whether it was constitutional to exclude gay and lesbian people and bisexual people from being foster parents. And the arguments were the same. You know what? Kids need a mom and a dad. And you know what the Arkansas Supreme Court said? Baloney. The Arkansas Supreme Court said, you know what? There's no facts that support that argument. Exactly. There's no science that supports that argument. In fact, the science goes 100% the other way.
Yeah.
And I think it's crazy. It's crazy for all. Come on, we all live in New York. We think of New York as a progressive place. We certainly don't think it's middle of the road in terms of the politics of the country. And we're behind Arkansas on this. That's crazy. So the second thing that the second argument that the Court of Appeals accepted in voting against us is something that the other side calls accidental procreation. And here's how the argument goes. They say, you know what, marriage is important because it gives stability to couples, and that's true. And then they say, you know what, it's important for kids to be in a stable home, and marriage helps with that, and that's true. But then here's what they say, here's how they keep us out of it. How they sort of avoid the fact that we all have families and we raise children and there's really no difference. What they say is, you know what, straight folks can have kids by accident, but gay people, they have to plan to have kids. And so you know what they take from that? What they take from that is this, they say, you know what, the straight people need marriage to keep them together, but the gay people don't need the stabilizing force of marriage. And so you know what that does? That takes the age-old stereotypes about gay people, right? The age-old stereotypes are that gay people are all about sex, right? We're all about sex. We have fleeting relationships. We don't have kids, and quite frankly, we don't care about kids. That's what they said, right? So what this says is, you know what? The gay people, we have very strong relationships and we don't need marriage. We have kids and we are faithful to them and we don't need marriage. But the straight people are the people who have the fleeting relationships, the people who don't care about their kids. Come on, is that a non-arbitrary reason to keep us out of marriage? No. But that is an argument, I gotta tell you, that was advanced by the mayor of this city and the attorney general of this state. So look, that's all there is on the other side of this argument, folks. That's it. It's silly lies and silly arguments.
That's why they got
and what that means is this, that we lost in the court, but there's a much broader audience that we're going to talk to now in the legislature, and we're not going to win because if that's all they got, they don't have long to have the status quo anymore.